everybody. Welcome to the Watertown SBDC's Marketing Monday. It's an episode about marketing every Monday, as luck would have it. And today's episode is going to be all about press kits. But before we get started, my name is Nicole. I'm the co-host of this lovely event, and I'm here with Erica and Liz from the Watertown SBDC. But before we get started, what's going on at the SBDC or in general that people should know about here?
Well, a couple different things are happening. And I think the thing that's most timely for us, Nicole, is, and we've talked about it here before, but oh yeah, I'm bringing it up again, the home-based childcare training that we are partnering with Jefferson Community College, our host institution, and the Community Action Planning Council, and greatly appreciated the funding by the IDAs from Jefferson and Lewis counties. So this is Jefferson and Lewis County residents only can receive full training to open an in-home child care center, and there's no cost to the training. It's not free. It is free. It's not free. It's no cost. There's a subtle difference, right? Because if we said free, that means what's free? Nothing's really free. So it's important to remember that Jefferson Community College and the SBDC and the Community Action Planning Council all receive taxpayer funding. This is funding that we all pay into to make our communities better. So if you've thought about
Liz, you're stuck. I'll just chime in, but
Awesome.
I think Liz was just about to say, that this is the information Nicole just put up on the screen. You can go to that link. That's the JCC website link that talks a little bit more about how to, get into the program for the in-home childcare. If you are interested, or somebody who's interested in maybe starting an in-home daycare, this is the time to do it. This program, they've already done one, and they'll be starting up another cohort in the springtime. So I was just saying they can get to the website this way to find out more. They can call the SBDC office too. So
they sure can. And yes, sorry about that, folks. We had a little internet burble here in beautiful downtown Watertown, and but that's okay, because this is how we roll, right? Things come up and we pull through them. So if you've ever thought about that, or if you know anyone who might be interested in starting this, it's a great no-cost program to train you to open up your New York State licensed daycare in your home. And it's not just days. There's incentives for night care, weekend care, after-school care. There's all sorts of options. So that, and we have a new advisor named Mike Kinney, who is on board now, and you'll be meeting him at various events we're going to be doing. And I don't know, I think that's about it, Erica. So let's get on with the program here.
All right. I think it's awesome that you guys are offering this childcare program, because it's really needed. It's a kind of business you can start from your home. It's something that also, it sounds like it can be flexible, which is awesome, and all we could ever ask for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a chance to start your own business and to be a really integral part of your community. It's really a good thing. So
yeah. All right. So the link's on the screen now, but if you're not sure about the link or just want to reach out to the SBDC, that's totally cool. And today's topic is all about press kits. And this is part of an overall theme that we have here going on in February, which is like a sort of PR theme. And so today's topic is press kits, but we have all kinds of other things coming up. So if you've ever wanted to do PR better, or want to learn more about the different kinds of things small businesses do in terms of PR, you should feel free to subscribe or like or follow this wherever you're watching this, and you'll be able to see our future broadcasts as well. But so press kits, I was thinking about this. I didn't have one until very, very recently. But it's if I was going to summarize what it is, it's basically like this idea that a press kit, a media kit, whatever you want to call it, is all of your assets gathered together. I was thinking, and tell me if you guys think of other scenarios too, as I bring up my little scenario ideas here. Like, okay, you've got everything up here. Like, why do you need a press kit, right? Like, it's all there. And so I thought of a few scenarios where having it be all up here is a little bit, not helpful to you. First of all, let's say someone wants you on their podcast, or someone wants to interview you for the newspaper or something, right? And sometimes what happens, and this happened to me like a couple of weeks ago, So I was interviewed, and the guy is like, okay, send me a headshot, send me your bio, send me your company bio, send me the links to your website. And I was just like, oh my, this is going to take so long to get this all together. And I thought, oh, you know what I should do is get this together once. And then anytime this happens again, I've got this thing ready to go. So even if you don't do kind of these kind of things on a regular basis, by bringing it all together, it kind of opens you up for those opportunities. Have either of you guys had to like spend hours or even minutes pulling together stuff like this in situations in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that I'm thinking about too is like, I feel like people think that press kits have gone by the wayside, but they haven't, just because they're not a physical folder that you deliver to somebody, right? That it's going to be digital and all those things, but it's so important to have all of this together. And then you're not caught off guard, right? Writing your bio when you don't have time. And, so yeah, I think it's super important to have these things on hand because you never know when it's going to be requested. And if you want free press, right, then you should have all this stuff together. So I think it's a really great topic. And I think really, really good, because I think especially like people more like, a little bit older think, okay, how do I do this digitally too? Right now, how has it changed? So,
yeah. And we'll get into that. Erica found some really great like resources that allow you to think of the categories and things you might need to pull together. And then we also obviously have some places technologically that we can put these things together. But another scenario I was thinking of, so maybe this first one, you're like, oh, I don't care about fame. That first scenario does not speak to me.
Just give me the money. They just want the money, right?
Right. Well, and another scenario is, let's say you're presenting somewhere. Maybe it's an online conference. Maybe it's at your local Rotary Club, and you are given someone that has to introduce you, right? And it's not necessarily somebody who knows you. Although I guess if you live in a small town, maybe you do know the person in the Rotary Club, but not necessarily. And so what having this allows you to do is you can send this person this information. You're not like, oh, go look at my website. And, because go look at my website. Do you know how many pages my website has on it? My website has like 1,500 pages on it. Like literally, because I have a blog that has over 1,000 posts in it. And then I have various, like, I'm not going to be like, yes, go look at 1,500 pages. Nobody has time for that. So what you're doing is you're curating some interesting information together. It's obviously information you thought through, you don't mind sharing. So I would say having this to just let people be able to introduce you, super helpful, because we're all in situations now, especially online, where people are introducing me and they don't necessarily know me super well. So
yeah, and I think it's expected too. I mean, if I need somebody's headshot and bio, I absolutely reach out to them and ask for that. I expect them to have that available. And I also think that, a lot of times our bio that's on the website is a long bio, right? Our extended biography, but they want a short snippet, So, and then you want it to say what you want it to say too, right? I mean, you can't expect somebody, like you said, who doesn't know you to do that well. So, my point is, I think it's expected, and to have it on hand is really important for that reason too. Mm-hmm.
Right, and I think that just because it, like you said, Erica, it's not the folder that you keep, that you have some student worker fill for you, right? It's all digital, but it still has to be correct and properly worded. You don't want typos in there. You don't want. It has to be the right length. Yes, everybody needs a long form bio, but you also need the quick snippet. And with the quality of these babies right now, there's no excuse for anyone to not have a decent headshot, shot of their outside building, cool shot of their retail store or their workspace. There's no excuse because we all have a camera in our pocket all the time, and the quality is pretty good. So, right.
And now, if neither of these two scenarios has convinced you yet, this third scenario I've kind of divided up into two because they're slightly different depending on what kind of industry you're in, but think about it from the other side. So in this fake scenario, I own an event venue, or I'm the manager of the events venue, and I'm looking for musicians or comedians. I'm looking for artists who want to come in and do whatever. Like I'm just like looking for people to collaborate with on something. And if I find somebody who has a media kit, that communicates a few things to me. That communicates that this person has worked with other people before and has thought through what I will need from them to be able to promote this thing adequately. And it also communicates to me that they have a bit of or they're used to promoting things. So not only are they going to, am I going to promote them to my audience, but also if they're coming to my venue, they're going to kind of put it out there as well. This is somebody who thinks about PR. And, maybe you're not a creative, but maybe, people are looking for speakers at a conference, or, your regional chamber is putting on some kind of online event and is looking for people who are really good at, talking about X, Y, or Z. And you have a media kit. So they know that you're going to send them the cover image they can use for Facebook, and that they have several versions of your logo depending on where they're going to put it, that kind of thing. So, I think from the other side, even if you're not the kind of person who seeks out this kind of attention, by having the kit out there and findable on the internet, that communicates to people who might be looking for you that you're going to be easy to work with, and you're going to help them promote the event that you're going to be a part of. Whatever.
Right, and every business owner doesn't have to be an on-screen personality. But you have to have those tools, like Nicole's saying, you have to have those tools. And you know what? If you don't want to be the spokesperson, designate someone to do it. But you have to have somebody who's willing to be out there and, semi make a fool of themselves on live Facebook every week, for example.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a theoretical example, Nicole.
I could see that being a theoretical example, but and that's the thing is, I call myself a rentable extrovert because that's what I feel like I am. But sometimes people just need some information, they want you to be a source in a news story, and they need somebody to, be able to talk about how the book industry has changed or something. And they need somebody who's knowledgeable about that. You don't have to be this whole song and dance personality person, but being a subject matter expert in a lot of cases is really great, and people appreciate that. So you do not have to be a song and dance kind of situation. So Erica has some really great sources here that she found that I want to pull in. Now, please appreciate, if you're watching this, that my screen has been turning into the 1980s color-wise intermittently today. I don't know why. But
magenta's coming back. It's coming back.
So if you tune in and the colors look really weird for a second, that's not you. Okay. I just want to. So this first media kit, I think, is very comprehensive. So when Erica was talking about favorite sources she found, this, I think, might be it, because I really like the way they go into. First of all, there's a video. So if you don't want to read all this, you can just watch a video, because obviously, we're pro video here. But I like how they kind of divided this into different sections about, a purpose, a mission, a vision, that kind of thing. Who you are, the team members, right? Here's Nicole. She's the owner of the company. Here's her headshot. Here is these other people, and I know in my company, people don't want to be necessarily really visible. I have one employee in particular who's very private. And so we want to respect that. So on that page, I have a list of staff, but I don't have her headshot and bio right there or anything. I respect people's boundaries. That's important. What people are saying about you. Oh, sorry. I'm going through this at breakneck speed. Slow me down. My second cup of coffee here. But they have this divided into nice sections, like purpose. And I don't know, I actually haven't really done this part as much as I would really like to. I don't know if you guys at the SBDC, or you and your, I know Erica runs a business. Have you done the mission and the vision kind of?
We did. I mean, when we did have, because this was for my bookstore coffee house, a while back, and we did still have a traditional folder that we would ship off to publishers, because we were trying to attract, public authors up to our area, and up in central New York, that's more of a challenge than anywhere. But And we actually went on like a press release blitz one time, and I took one of my managers with me, and we went down to New York with all of our kits and even our like a photo album before all of it was digital and everything. So that's a little bit dated, but I think one of the things is I'm noticing, like, the example here is like, and I read this too when looking at some best practices with press kits, is that you want to kind of keep it short and sweet. And I think when I remember how, like, sort of my media kit looked with the folder and everything, it was like, our mission statement, then we called it not vision but core beliefs, was on one page, and then the team was definitely on one nice sheet, on letterhead, old fashioned letterhead, and so I think it's kind of good when you're thinking about doing this digitally to not get too long-winded and think about those one pagers, those short, sweet, concise, short but sweet way of looking at it. And maybe, if you're thinking about this digitally, you don't have more than, I don't know, maybe 5 to 8 pages or things, for people to look at. Now, I know we're not really talking about letterhead pages, but I think, again, it's just an example of, you got to keep this stuff concise because there can be a lot to look at, right? So
right, and you want people to actually remember it too. And if it's like too long, like I can remember like a memorable sentence or two, but I cannot remember 3 paragraphs,
right?
No matter how well written they are.
Right, and nobody's going to read huge bios from each of your staff members, right? It's got to be short but sweet, that way too. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, no, oh, sorry, go ahead, Liz.
I was going to say, leave them wanting more, right? Make it like a jewel box. It's small, it's beautiful, it's finely crafted, and they want more. So if you send them something and someone calls you and says, wow, what else would you guys do? That's success. That's a 2 thumbs up right there. But if you're having an event and you have a quote from all 7 of your staff members, don't do it.
Yeah.
You have a quote that says, Erica, speaking for the entire staff, says, we're so excited to host this event next weekend. You don't need a quote from Erica, Liz, and Nicole. So just keep that in mind.
And just like with resumes, we think about how we're supposed to keep those, maybe not down to 1 page anymore, but they're, you're not supposed to have a 5-page CV or resume, right? So it's just, press releases have always had that kind of rule behind them. It's like short, 4 paragraphs or whatever, 1 page long. So again, keeping it short and sweet is important here. So, but you definitely want to make sure you've got your general information out there, and who you are, what you're doing. And I'm thinking, Nicole, you're going to talk a little bit more about that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. And then so the first section is sort of like brand identity. The second one is who are you, the leadership, the team members, who are your customers, that kind of thing. And then I like this, like, what are people saying about you? So press coverage, awards, reviews, and testimonials. Again, you don't have to maybe pull, all 1,500 of your TripAdvisor reviews in, but maybe you can grab a few of the more interesting ones, because let's face it, like, I'm not going to go through, as the person who's really busy. I'm a busy, copy editor. And I'm not going to be like, oh yes, let me go down this rabbit hole of reading 1,500 TripAdvisor reviews and pull the most interesting quote. If you've gone ahead and done that for me, that makes it even easier for me to pick that out and run it. So, and then what's new, press releases, story angles. I like this idea too. Like, because sometimes, you give people ideas of what they could do, and then brand assets, right? Your logos, images that you're allowed to use. Don't steal images that other people took of you and put them on your website. It has to be images that you have permission to use. So low and high resolution images, shareable video content, links to social media. Don't make people hunt for stuff. And what this resource suggests is that if you put this somewhere in the cloud, whether it's in Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that, so you have all of your logos are sitting in a folder that you can share with somebody, that's infinitely, that's really helpful. So, thinking about where you're putting this so that people can access it. If not on your website, like, let's say you're like, oh, I don't want it on my website because I feel like this is some, like, at least put it online somewhere so that you can easily link to it and people can get to it if they need to. I thought that was a really good point. So the link on the screen will take you to this resource. So if you want to go and kind of read it in depth, you can totally do that. And I'll leave it on the screen for a second more. Is there anything else that, and they did a couple of digital media kit examples here too, which I thought was nice. You can see what other people do. Yeah, maybe you're not Shopify, you're a small business and you're not that. It's okay to just look at them and just be like, I want to do this part, these parts, but these other parts don't really apply to me. So don't think you have to do everything that, I don't know, an international corporation with hundreds of employees is doing.
Right, exactly. And if you're not sure what are the most important things, you can always give your SBDC advisor a call and say, okay, I watched Marketing Monday and I really want to follow the advice that Nicole and Erica had. And so I need a press kit, but what pieces do I need? And we can talk you through, well, are you having a grand opening? Are you having opening a new store? Well, there's certain things you need for different things, and we can definitely talk you through that. So if you look, check out the link, and then if you want some individualized advice, contact the SBDC. We can help you out with that.
Yeah, I think that's great because I mean it does have to be customized, and it does depend on what your business is. I mean, you might not have a lot of press releases because you're not really event driven, right? But you might have a press release that you can share as far as the opening of your business, just like Liz mentioned or something. But then, what else is there that's more relevant, to your business that you can share, whether it's maybe you do a podcast or, those kinds of things. So I do think it's really, really good to customize it, your media kit to your specific business and what you can share. Yeah.
Right. And also, what you do for the community. Just because you're not opening a new store, if you support a local nonprofit, or if you have sent your employees to go work at, a food bank for a day, that's the kind of thing that you can attract attention on. And, if you look at the local television, we're speaking, mostly rural Northern New York here. I don't know about any of you guys, but I subscribe to North Country Public Radio on social media, and they're at the bottom. If you have a story idea, contact us. A lot of the media outlets will do that. Don't be shy about contacting them, but have your stuff together first. And if you're going to have those reviews for your store, make sure it's one from this calendar year. Don't just because you got a great review in 2014 for your Airbnb doesn't mean that's the one you should focus on. Timeliness. If you have a new building, if you painted your building a new color, update your photo. Make sure that it looks fresh and modern and complete.
Yeah. And to your point too, it's also, media out there is hungry for this information. So don't ever be shy about, making sure that your local media outlets are aware of, your business and what you're doing and any accolades, all of those things. They're hungry for that kind of news information on the local side.
And they really. Oh, go ahead, Liz.
Oh, no, I was going to say, call up and ask, hi, I'm a local small business and I have a press release. To whose attention should this go? So you're making sure that you're emailing it, not to the generic, WKRP email, right? That's a little callback from my youth. Make sure you're targeting that to the right person's email address. And any media outlet, TV, radio, they will absolutely tell you, oh yeah, it goes to this person, and make sure you're addressing it to that person.
Right.
Yeah, and then make sure that whether you're using Constant Contact or a spreadsheet or any of those where you're sending out bulk emails, to have a separate database with your press contacts there, because and it will be ever growing if you're doing a good job with your press communication, and you want to make sure you can easily email to the group. The group, so that it's efficient. And plus, your communications to them are going to be different than your communications to your customers. So you want to make sure that you have your own distribution list for those PR contacts. Yeah.
And we'll get more into press releases next week because we have the whole topic next week.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too into press releases today. Today is about media kits or media kits, I guess we're calling
Keep
it.
us reined in. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all tied together though. That's the thing, right? So now let's say that last link we were looking at, you were like, oh, that's a lot. If you want something a little bit shorter, and I'll pull this on the screen now. The link on the screen is a bit shorter about the idea of the media kit, and reading time 3 minutes. I do appreciate when they tell me how long it's going to take me to read something. But they have it broken down here into like 10 very brief sections. So if you want a kind of lighter outline to work with, I thought this was good. And in terms of the thing that they had on here that I saw was something that I didn't think the other article necessarily touched on a lot, was this idea of the fact sheet, or these like sort of facts about your business. Like, you know, what year did you start? How many employees do you have? Like, what's your, I don't know, you know, you can think about, like, it doesn't have to be necessarily just number facts, but could just be things that people kind of need to know about your business. Short and sweet might be, you know, good talking points for somebody and makes it kind of skimmable. I thought that was like a good addition here. And then I also liked the idea here that was a little bit kind of additional to what we were looking at, the resource we had a second ago, was the idea of charts, visuals, or photographs. So like the other one talked about having logos and photographs to work with, but also if you had other visuals, because it takes a lot of like resources or thought to put together like an infographic or an interesting graph or something. And if you've gone ahead and done that, well, that makes my, you know, if I'm the press person here, that makes my job a lot easier, because you've kind of thought through this information. And that's what you want to think about, is you're dealing with, I don't know, a copy editor that has to edit like 200 pieces of content in 1 week. And the more you make this person's life easier, the like more likely that they're going to want to work with you, and when you send stuff in or whatever, want to run it. So if you wanted a shorter kind of version of what we were looking at a second ago, I'll keep that link on the screen. Is there anything else? By the way, I can put it back up too if we want to refer to it. Didn't mean to just, but is there anything else you guys want to add to that particular resource before we take a look at some examples of some media or some press kits?
Just no business is too small. It doesn't matter if you're a sole proprietor. If you do something that's interesting, integral to your community, or unique, or even just a one-off, that's something fun. Don't underestimate, as Erica said earlier, the media's interest in content, so it can churn all the way through. And the point isn't to go viral. Or become an influencer or whatever. The point is to let people in your area know if you're doing something fun or unique or cool. Because if you think that, then other people will think that as well. And we've said this before here, but don't forget to let people show people how you do the work. It's an action shot can be way better than a headshot. So if you have a meat processing business and you want to show your gleaming stainless steel room, do it. I wouldn't advise you to show all the sausage being made, all the guts, right? Because you don't want to be discouraging. But so use your judgment, but also definitely include action shots. They don't have to be just the generic, posed headshot.
For sure. So I have here a few examples of some kind of small businesses that we can look at together. And I've seen a few different formats. And so one of these formats, if you're watching this, may speak to you over another format. So the first one is, and I'm calling it an all-in-one document. Guys, this is a magician. So it's a PDF that he has uploaded to his website. And it's 3 pages. So he has his biography, the kinds of events that he does, his clients.
Good of sponsorships. Are those sponsors? Like
those are people. Those are clients.
Oh, clients. Okay.
People who paid him.
Right.
Yeah.
And notice how he has that, like, kind of at the top. Yeah. Right.
Oh, him and Jay Leno just.
Jay Leno, yeah.
Just chilling with the gradient. And, so we see here, like, he's got, obviously, if you're going to reach out to him, he'll send you some higher resolution images probably that you can use, but it gives you an idea of press he's gotten as seen on, and reviews. And the thing is, your accolades don't have to be this large, but this guy has some pretty large accolades, and he's only got, his thing is 3 pages long. So if he can summarize his whole career in 3 pages, we can summarize our businesses in a short amount of content too. So you could just basically have a document and lay it out in an interesting way like this. And So there are such templates as media kit templates. So Canva has some. And then I just went and I looked for other templates as well. So Google Docs have templates that you can actually download and use. So you can make an effective kind of one pager like this if this is the kind of kit that you want to make.
Telling you,
You know,
it's never been easier. I mean,
it's
not,
true.
I'm not saying press kits and media kits are easy because it's a lot of thought that you have to put into them and everything, but these templates are just amazing. You know, they really are making it so much easier to pull everything together and make it look good, most importantly. So
Yeah, and it'll give you ideas of like the kinds of things you can have too. So in addition to the 2 resources that we shared earlier in the broadcast, you also have, your template is also referencing certain things as well. So yeah, so you can just have a one pager like this. This is nice because clearly this guy works with larger corporations. And where do corporations make a lot of their decisions typically? In a room, right? In a meeting. So this is easy to print out. So you can just put the packet on everyone's desk, or this is easy to attach to an email that at a meeting that we're going to talk about, maybe having this guy come to our, corporate event or something like that. So a one page sort of, I put document in quotes because it's a little bit more laid out than a document, but it is essentially a document because it's a PDF.
And I noticed that at the end, there was the booking info. That's, there's the clincher right there is here I am, here's what I do, here's who loves me, here's some great stuff about me. Boom, one click and you can book. So that's really important. Make it convenient.
Yeah, that call to action is important. So, but I like what you said too, Nicole, about have it being versatile, as far as being able to print it out nicely, make sure you have a lot of color.
But he's thinking about his audience too, because there's color in here, but if you think about it, the only color there is that blue. Everything else is black. Actually, there's his headshot on the top. I guess he's not black or white or that blue color, but it's not like a heavy full color thing necessarily. So so
Smart.
So what he's thinking is, okay, if people are going to hire me, they're probably kind of printing this off and evaluating me based on something that is either being attached to an email or is being printed out and distributed in a boardroom. So he knows his audience probably. Now, the other way to work it, just because I don't want to completely sell you on one thing, is I like this because this is a wedding band. Because who doesn't love a good wedding band, right? So weddings are our jam, and they have a lot of information about the kinds of information or the kinds of music they play, how their stuff works. But they have this thing in the middle of the screen that says request a free demo pack, which I thought was interesting because they're giving you kind of a taste, and they're sort of pre-qualifying you too by like saying, hey, some pricing, starting at $1,900, so like if I'm seeing this and I'm trying to throw a $500 wedding, I'm not going to waste their time. Right. But if somebody kind of sees this stuff and is sort of interested, when I click request a free demo pack, I'm taken to their, like a contact form essentially where I fill it out. And so they're collecting some information about me before they send me the kit. So maybe they have some different kits for different kinds of potential customers. So maybe they have a certain kit for like maybe a wedding venue versus a couple getting married theoretically one time, but they might have slightly different information that they give based on the information that gets filled out. So
really smart.
I thought that was smart. You get their email,
right, and I mean versus throwing several videos up on the website, which could be helpful, right? People are kind of expecting to see that out of a band, that they want to see it. But I do think it makes a lot of sense. Like you're trying to find out a little bit more about their needs in it before you share the stuff that they really want to see. So yeah, I think that's really a good way to go.
Yeah. So the pro of this, right now, the previous example was a PDF. We're not here's just the link to a PDF that sits on a website that I can access without giving you anything. This one, we're getting the email. But we're also giving them a little bit of information on this website too. So this is another way that you can go to. If you don't want to, I guess, really put your whole press kit out there to everybody, you could sort of whatever and then request. I would say at least put enough information on the page though so people can feel like they sort
Yeah.
of know what's going on before they do that. I hate it when people are like, oh, here's a free ebook, and then I like download it and it's 2 pages, one of which is like an advertisement for them, and it's like, oh, I gave my email for that, really?
Mhm.
So this other style that I've seen, and probably the most common, is this idea that this is a landing page on your website. So in this case, this is, a Yellowstone Forever. They're a nonprofit. So they have their mission and their purpose and all that, like, right, the areas that we were talking about before, nonprofit status, governed by, and then they have, all, you can download all the press photos here. Look at that, download all press photos. And what this is going to do is, look, it's downloading all of them. Oh, you can't see it. It's downloading them all onto my computer into a zip file. So it's saved all those images for me. But I can also download them individually. Click to download, click to download, click to download. So, and all of these images are theoretically images that they have permission to share and use with the press. And they're nice. Like, look at that. Look at that pretty waterfall. Lovely. Yeah. So like, I would say those are kind of the 3 formats: the one pager, the the book, the give us your email and we'll send it to you, and this like sitting on the website. And I just thought, like, not that I'm a shameless self-promoter here, but oh look, it's the 1980s again on my screen. But I also made one for the occasion because I realized that I had never done it before, and I started pulling together kind of the stuff that I thought people should know about me. Now, my website runs in WordPress. So, my screen is back to not being in the 80s. I'll be curious to see what this is. Oh, there it goes. So there are my Yellowstone pictures. So on my website, I like put together this media kit, and I have these numbers. Like I have, over 10,000 views on the YouTube channel. Just hit that milestone a little while ago. Company social media followers, the custom trainings that we've done over the course of the last 14 years. And so I have all my usable images, clearly from before end times. So some of them are a little bit old. I've gotten a little grayer in end times here, but these are all pictures that I've access to. And then I have links to previous press I've gotten, all the not all the workshops, but a lot of the workshops I've done. And yeah, so I kind of want to do more here, like upload I kept trying to upload my photos or my logos, but they were too high resolution, and I meant to resize them and upload them before this broadcast, but I just remembered now.
Yeah.
And if you do have like a WordPress site or a Squarespace site or whatever, they might have some kind of built-in media kit, either layout for a particular page that you can use. So or like in this case, this is just a WordPress plugin called Publisher Media Kit.
Got it. So you just went onto the internet, like searched Google for media kits, and you could plug it right into your WordPress and grab it from there.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm guessing that a lot of these, the like I said, the Wixes and the Squarespaces and the Shopifys of the world, they probably have like some kind of, they've thought through like, oh, I mean, people need media kits, right? Like, how do we present them on our particular website? So if you have a certain web platform that you use, you might want to check out their resources, because they might have either a certain page layout or a plugin or extension or add-on that you can put on your site that will allow you to make the content a little bit more dynamic than just like picture text, which is fine, but
yeah. And then kind of might be good to find out how versatile it is too, right? As far as how printable it is, or that kind of thing too. But
yeah, I mean, on a lot of websites, and this is just kind of doesn't really have to do with this, but you can add like a sort of print capability, and it'll put like a little button on every page of your website that has a print version. And what it'll do is it'll format it so that the content kind of takes up the full page, so that maybe the header kind of goes away, but it adds like your, logo or the web page link on the bottom of it or something. So you can add that functionality. If you think a lot of your resources are going to get printed, you can totally add that functionality to your website. So just FYI, anybody watching this, that's like, oh yeah. So if you wanted to lay it out kind of dynamically, you could add, or if I wanted to, on the top of that page, I could lay out a print version. Like I could use one of those cool Canva templates or something. And on the top, I could say, print version media kit, parentheses PDF. I like to sort of tell people what it is so that they're not randomly clicking on a link and wondering what's going to download. So like, this is a PDF, you can download it. Click here. So that's another way to do it as well. So like I said, a lot of websites and web companies have thought through how to do these, because even though, like you said, like Erica, like we had the folders, and as you know, we've gone more online, people still need the same information. It's just presented slightly differently.
Yeah, because I know, I mean, it's you know, it's so different now. Like when we had our print, you know, our folders or whatever, did have some pieces and parts of it that were digital, even though it was, you know, in the early 2000s, you know, but I mean, I obviously had a bio that I could send quickly, or, you know, a picture of the store or something like that, you know, and now it's like reverse. It's like you do it all online first, just digitally first, you know, and then you might have your pieces and parts that you might present in another way at some point or something, or give people the option to do that. But
yeah, and this just might be something you mainly use internally. So like, I just did this morning. I was filling out a Chamber of Commerce's, they had like a form to participate in this upcoming event, and it was like, oh, tell us about your business or whatever. And I thought like, oh, this is so much easier I can just literally copy and paste those fields in. And even I could have like a member of if I didn't have time, I could be like, oh, hey, staff member, can you fill this out? And then, you know, we have all the information in one spot, even if we're not necessarily promoting, oh, look, we have a media kit now. The fact that the information is internal at all in one spot makes everyone's life easier.
Right.
Not just outside people who are, you know, giving you free press, but also, you know, your employees who want to help you make sure you get listed on the upcoming sale, you know, that kind of thing.
Do you want to talk, because I know we're running out of time, and I wasn't sure if you had anything else, but do you want to talk a little bit about logos and having your logos ready in certain formats, or is that for another time too?
No, we definitely
I just remember talking to you about it last week a little bit, and like, you know, it's important to have your logo in a number of different formats, you know, so that if somebody needs something specifically, it's there too, right?
Yeah. So I would say, and I'll type up these as I talk here, a square format logo, a vertical format logo are helpful, and having them as transparent PNG files. Because
and most of us are like, what the heck is that? So,
all right. So when you save something, whether in Photoshop or whatever, there's an option to make the background transparent. Right. And it makes this little like gray and white checkerboard. Do you know what you've seen it behind photos before? And so what that's communicating is that that image really has like no background color. So whatever I put that image on top of, it's going to look good. So for example, I forgot to get the transparent PNG of your logo for this broadcast. So on the top, it's just this kind of square, but this StreamYard logo is a transparent PNG file. So it shows through, you know, Erica's background. So if you provide it as the transparent PNG file, what that's going to allow the person to do is if they're pulling stuff together and if they're putting it on on something, your logo is going to show up well. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that there is a couple of different resolutions that a logo can be saved in. One of them is 72 DPI. And the other one that's the most common is 300 DPI. So 72 DPI, no matter, I don't care what kind of screen you have. If you have like a $3,000 computer screen or whatever, or like the highest resolution you're going to get is 72. I think it's digital pixels per inch DPI, right? So no matter whatever, that is the resolution online. But if you print, you need 300 DPI. So it is more, you need more resolution to print clearly. How many of you have printed, you print something on the company printer, you see a meme or something that's funny, you print it out and it's like kind of junky looking on paper. And it's because that image wasn't built to be printed out. Like it was built to just be online. And that's why it looks like crap on the paper. So I made a brochure. This is like years ago. I didn't know what I was doing. I had Photoshop. I made this whole brochure in 72 DPI and had to remake it in 300 DPI because I tried to upload it to the printer and they were like, no, we can't print this. This is too, and I'm like, I used Photoshop, like, da, da, da. So what you want to do is, if providing a high enough resolution, if you think the logo is being printed, is lovely. Again,
Yeah.
think about that poor graphic designer who's like, making that flyer or something. Make their life as easy as possible. So, but yeah, a square version of your logo and a more, I don't know why I put vertical, a more rectangular. I said vertical, meant rectangular.
Or horizontal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
The other
that'll
one.
give you the other one. That'll give you the
Yeah.
most options. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, do I need a logo? It's like you don't. A lot of people sometimes use, their business written in a certain font or something as their logo in the meantime. So, you can have something that visually represents your business that's not just your face. That can be helpful.
Branding. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think too that if you, no matter what, if you're using a graphic designer to design your logo, no matter how cheap they were, or if you found them online, through a logo competition or something, I still think it's very fair to ask them for the different formats that you need, that Nicole, that you've suggested, including the transparent one. So you have those from them already and you don't have to go back and figure all that out on your own. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, if they come back, they might come back and say, well, I gave you, my God, what's it called? There's a kind of logo that you can scale up and down. I will think of the name in a second. So if they come back at you and say, oh, you have, a scale, it's not scalable. I'll think of the term in a second. You can basically, vectorized. That's what it's called. So if they come back and say, oh, your logo is vectorized, you're all set. What that means is that the logo can be blown up to the size of the billboard. It could be brought down to the size of a business card, logo, and it's going to keep its crispness. So, if you do want to invest in having your logo vectorized, I think it's like a good thing to have, because, but if you're like, oh, I don't necessarily want to do that right now, any graphic designer worth their salt should give you. When I got the newest version of my logo from my graphic designer, he gave me the original source files and he gave it to me in the sizes that I wanted. Grayscale square version of the logo, grayscale, horizontal version of the logo, 72 DPI, 300 DPI. Like, he gave me all of those files as part of our work together. So, most.
And I would ask about it first before you hire the and say, this is what I expected out of this. This is what I need, just so you know what you're going to be supplied with at the end. Yeah.
And if you're not sure what to ask for, who could you call? Oh, I don't know, maybe the SBDC, and we can help you figure that out. And I think it's also, I think we haven't said this directly, at least I don't think so. Always, before you hit send, if you think anybody's going to print anything out, print it out yourself and look at it. I know nobody under 30 has a printer in their house. I get it. Someone just said that last week, a printer. I don't have a printer, but it's not, you're not in college anymore. And if you have a business, you have to have the tools, and a printer is one of the tools. And if you don't have one, then take it to the library and spend the 50 cents and have it printed there or whatever, or go to Kinney's. I don't know. But
by the way, my 24 and 25-year-old daughters got printers for Christmas because I was tired of them sending me things that they needed printed. I'm like, you think you don't need a printer, but you do.
I started my business I had a 220 square foot apartment. It was really small. And so I wrote off like a lot. It was funny. My accountant was like, there's no way you can write off this much office space. And I sent him a picture and he's like, okay, I got it. But I had a printer, because you're going to need to print something at least, once in a while. And they're so much less expensive now. We have a color laser printers at both our co-working spaces. You can get them for like $500-ish at this point. It is not a big deal, and they last forever. I maybe replace the cartridges once a year. So we're definitely printing less and less, but it's still true. But like
it's
every time, they're making smaller printers now, like really small ones. Like, so whether you want a small size or you just want something that's like, we just got the color laser because it does print so much more crisply. And like, I like changing the cartridges once a year. That's like my thing. But So having some versions of your logos is great. And reach out to your graphic designer. And it could be that, they didn't provide them to you because they just didn't think of it. And there's no malicious intent there. Obviously, my branding guy knows that I do a lot of marketing, so he provided me all the sizes because he's like, Nicole's going to use this because she like does this all day. But like, they probably maybe didn't want to make your life harder by giving you files you couldn't open or something. So, so just ask them. They don't, they don't mind.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but so that's pretty much it. And like I said, we'll be doing kind of different sort of PR topics through the month of February. I know next week's is press releases, and we have some other stuff coming up. So if you have questions about PR in general or about Media Kits press releases, that kind of thing, feel free to leave a comment on this video or reach out to the SBDC. Whether it's a comment on this video, we'll see it, or whether it's an email, they'll see it at the SBDC if you have, I guess, a little bit more of a detail-oriented question.
Or a topic.
That's it.
Or a topic you want us to cover on Marketing
Absolutely.
Monday. We can say anything to make it marketing related, so don't even worry.
Absolutely.
We love feedback that way. New ideas.
Absolutely. And that's all I got. Do you guys have anything else to say to close us out today?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Good
either.
info.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
If
you make a media kit, link it wherever you're seeing this so that we can go check it out.
Yes,
like I said, I was so happy to put mine together finally. This gave me the kick in the pants I needed. So
we'd love to see everybody's end work that way. It would be great.
Yeah, awesome. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week, and have a great rest of your day.